Welcome to the Revero Success Podcast. I'm Coach Kiki, and I'm a coach and member here at Revero. And today I'm joined by Coach Lulu. Lulu recovered from bulimia, back pain, and had her anxiety and OCD symptoms significantly reduced on a carnivore lifestyle. Welcome, Lulu. I'm so glad that you're here, and you're a new coach here at Revero. We're so happy to have you.
Thanks so much, Kiki. It's so great to be here.
So we'd love to hear from you. What was life like before you started the carnivore diet?
Yeah, so this time last year, I was really unwell with my OCD and pure O. And 12 months on, I honestly just can't believe where I am at. The reflection on how sick I was to who I am and what I'm doing now is truly incredible. And I really thank so much of this change in my life to the carnivore lifestyle. Before I started carnivore,
I'm just going to step in one moment. Why don't you explain to us what OCD is and what pure O is? Because that was new for me. I did some research before we got on today.
For sure. So a lot of people think OCD is just like a cleanliness. People are scared of germs or organization. They need things in a particular way. That's just one subtype of OCD. So pure O is basically around mental images and things that come up that are completely opposite to someone's values. So for me, unfortunately, what came up was my husband and I were trying to have a child, and Pure O decided to come in and just absolutely make me think that I was going to be a really terrible mother. So the thing that I value most in life is becoming a mum. So I just picked that and went like completely hooked into that. And yeah, it was devastating for me. So mentally,
so these ideas and images are continuously going through your mind. You have no control over them.
None. So you get stuck in loop circles. So a thought would come in, and we all have intrusive thoughts. Everybody has intrusive thoughts. So my OCD moved to a few different subtypes. So like harm OCD, then there was like OCD around body dysmorphia as well. And that's where that eating disorder part really was sort of stuck for me. So with regards to the OCD, it's like I would have a thought, and because it was so horrifying to me, or an image, I would just need to understand why I was having it. And there's just no logic to it. At the end of the day, we all have intrusive thoughts. We all have weird thoughts that come up in our heads, and generally people will go, oh, that was a bit strange, but then they just move on with their day. Whereas somebody with OCD just gets stuck in a loop cycle, and it can just make them extremely unwell, really sick, high anxiety, and just really, I hated myself when I was going through it. I didn't know myself. I didn't know what was happening to me. It was very confusing. But as I was diagnosed, like when I was growing up, I can see I've had OCD my whole life, but it was this particular type of OCD, this subtype that it turned to for me around becoming a mum. It just absolutely was just horrifying, horrific. But, you know, I have OCD and I live with it every day, but it's just like so manageable now.
So you were looking at mental health solutions. You were meeting with mental health professionals and looking at mental health solutions. So then how long would you say you'd had this particular form or expression of the OCD as well as the bulimia? How long had that been going on for you?
Sure. So bulimia started for me when I was around 15 years old. And OCD, I can recall having it from a very young age. OCD is also around uncertainty, and like people with OCD want certainty, and you just can't get that. You can't have, it's the uncertainty of life is just consuming. So from a really young age, I can still remember I would recite a prayer every night. And I didn't grow up in a religious family, and that was just something that I learned at school was religion, and I thought that's gonna save me if I can pray every night. And I was, for years and years and years, I would recite the same prayer to think that it was going to keep me safe. So it was like putting those sort of things in place.
Right, to have some calming balm in your mind.
Yeah, to have something, yeah, just to feel like, okay, it was like I have to do the prayer, because if I don't do the prayer, what if something happens? That's going to be my fault. What if something happens to my family and I didn't do the prayer?
A superstition, and then feeling that you were somehow
huge.
responsible for the well-being of your family. That's such a big responsibility. That's a lot on a young person's shoulders. Yeah. So how were you eating? The way that you ate through your childhood, is that pretty much what your adult eating looked like? Or did that go through some changes? How were you eating before you discovered carnivore?
So, you know, when I was young, it was very much like the standard, like it was very similar to your standard American diet in Australia. We would have meat and 3 veg dinners, that like sort of thing. I grew up in, my heritage is Italian, so there was, you know, pastas and lasagnas and all that kind of stuff. But I was always very active, so there was no issues around weight gain as a young person, and I still indulged in like treats like chocolate, ice cream, like cookies, all of that kind of stuff. But as I got older and started to become really aware of my body and how it was changing, and I was becoming a teenager, you name the diet, I've tried it. So it just became this cycle of me trying every diet possible to stay thin or be thin or lose weight, and I was never satisfied. I was constantly trying to find this this weight or this way of looking, and
this magical diet.
Magic, yeah,
right, the magical diet. And then you really found one.
I truly did. Like,
so
amazing.
What did it look like you were eating leading up to carnivore? Just maybe 80% carbs or something like that, a fair amount of pasta and grains, and
I would eat, yeah, sorry, go on.
Oh, and I think you had been plant-based or vegetarian.
So I tried pescatarian, vegetarian, because I'm a yoga teacher as well. I thought when I became a yoga teacher, just going on 2.5 years ago now, that I had to be a vegetarian. Like I had to fit into this mold, that I had to eat like, you know, follow a vegetarian lifestyle. Vegan would never have worked for me. I know that. I was pescatarian for a little while as well, but for me it was basically lean meats. So I'd eat white meats like chicken and fish, lots of tin tuna, rice, but I also like calorie counted. So, and I've been calorie counting for, you know, 15 years, since I was in my early 20s, and I could just look at food, and I still can look at food and just be so aware of what is in the calorie intake. So that was just another way of my OCD was just came into that as well, is that I was obsessed.
I can really see from being here at Revero and meeting all the members that I do, and also coaching clients, there are so few women who have just ever eaten to satiety or eaten to full pleasure. There's so much restriction and limitation and denial. So what was it that tipped you off to this carnivore diet? Was there a video? Was there a recommendation from a friend?
Yeah, this is awesome. Like for me, I went to a barbecue with my neighbor, and he has a fused spine. So he had an accident, and his orthopedic surgeon was sending him information about the carnivore diet. And when we're at a barbecue, he said to me, like, why don't you give it a go, Lou? You know, I've had a bulging disc. So in my L4, L5 lower back, I have a bulging disc, and it's caused me a lot of trouble almost for the last 3 years. I don't know if it was just the HIIT exercise, but I heard it at a HIIT class, and then ever since then it's just been, it was really hard to live with. I was taking Mobic every day, and I was just really struggling with the pain, and he was telling me how much better he was feeling, and it was only 2 weeks in, and I was like, I just can't just eat meat. That seems ridiculous. So I came home, and my husband said, well, I've seen this diet on Joe Rogan. Let's watch it. So we watched the episode with ShawnBaker, and I was like, oh, I'm pretty intrigued. And then I started watching Steak and Butter Gal and listening to Kelly Hogan, and those two women really got me interested on the female side of things, with fertility and hormones and all of that kind of good stuff. But I had no idea that this, just going to that barbecue and having a listen to that and having that conversation with someone, could have brought me to where I am now, which is truly incredible. I'm off. I haven't taken Mobic for months.
Congratulations.
I don't have to take, it's incredible. So, and that's not something that if we end up, starting a family, I can't take that if I was pregnant. It's like a really, really strong form of ibuprofen, and you can't have that when you're pregnant. So it was really important for me to try to fix my body before any of that happened. And I'm so grateful that I don't have to take any medication for it anymore. And I still have pain at times, but it's just manageable. Like, I know what I have to do. I have to keep my body warm, but the inflammation is just gone.
And so how did you begin? What did your meals look like? And what do they look like now? I think it's been about 6 months.
Yes. So at the start, I just enjoyed everything carnivore. I just went into it like, I was big on the dairy, and I had heavy whipping cream in my coffee and cheese and lots of bacon and all of that. And then I was inspired by Bella to try beef only. So she did beef only through April, and I kind of was toying with the idea, watching how other people had done the beef and salt and all like and lamb, and thought, oh, I don't know if it's really restricting. But then I gave it a go, and it was like the most freeing thing, because I didn't have to think about anything. All I had to do was eat beef, and it was incredible. The way that my body changed in composition as well in that month was amazing. So not only has it helped me with my mental health within like 2 weeks of starting at the start of carnivore, even when I was eating the dairy and everything. And I noticed within 2 weeks, I was just like, oh my goodness, my head is so much quieter. The inner dialogue that I was struggling with every day had just started to cease. And then just one day I woke up and went, oh my God, it's like I wasn't reminded as soon as I got up that I had OCD. And that is just every day, it just gets better and better. So
so liberating.
It's so liberating and so freeing.
We're healing our brain. Oh. And who would have thought that feeding the brain the food that it wants is actually going to bring the mood stabilization and the ease and the happiness. It's such a beautiful gift.
It truly is. And that's I heard someone say this the other day. It's like, we do want to heal our gut and that inflammation, but the inflammation in the brain, like I thought about that and went, oh my God, like that makes so much sense to me about what was happening with my mental health. Is there was massive, that inflammation in the brain and in the gut when they talk to each other.
Right.
There's so much to it, but it's incredible.
And so we do also see this initially when people begin this journey, that they might not see weight loss on the scale, but they do see a change in body composition. Their clothes fit differently. They feel leaner and stronger at the same time. And so that's something that you experienced.
Mm-hmm, definitely. Like I still go between, like I weigh myself once a week. I try not to, it's just something that I like to do just to see where I'm at, but I can be 3 kilos heavier or 3 kilos lighter, and there's not much of a difference in I don't really see it anymore.
Great.
Yeah. Like it's incredible. Like it's not such an issue for me. Like I used to weigh myself daily and be just like, oh, so devastated when the scales didn't move. And now it's like, I don't really there's not really much of a difference when I look at myself in the mirror, which is amazing.
That's so liberating.
Mm-hmm.
So you would say this body dysmorphia has also subsided.
Oh,
What
yeah.
led to the bulimia?
So I definitely feel like I look at myself and I really love how I look now, which
Wonderful.
is amazing. I would just, for so long, just really didn't love my body, which meant if I didn't love how I looked, I didn't love who I was. And I just feel like this lifestyle has made me fall in love with myself again. Like I've got so much love for me again. And when I was really sick, I hated myself. I was like, how could you be having these horrific thoughts? Like you're a bad person, you're a monster, all of this. And now it's like completely flipped. And I just like, yeah, it's
Wonderful,
so nice.
wonderful. Yeah. And I'm sure everyone around you can see that and experience that.
And they can. And my husband is just so proud. Like to think we got married this time, or like in a week's time, it's our first wedding anniversary. And leading up to the wedding, I was so excited to get married, but I was really unwell. I was put on lithium, and I was diagnosed with an affective mood disorder, which I think I was misdiagnosed. I really just feel as though for me it is just the OCD, and I can really know that that's what it was. And I was put on lithium, and I was the sickest I have been. It was horrible, and I got put on lithium a few weeks before my wedding, and it was just so horrible. During my honeymoon, I cried every day. I was just had so much despair. I felt so guilty. It was so horrible. And now, like 12 months later, the change in who I am and how excited I am about like life and my marriage, and just, I have so much to thank for. I have so much to be thankful for, and for this lifestyle.
It's wonderful, Lulu. Now, has your husband joined you in this way of eating?
Finally. It took him a really long time. And then I took a coaching session with somebody, and he had to listen to someone else's point of view and went, oh, okay, I'll do this now. You know, he just needed to hear it from someone else,
right?
Which is really funny. But that he had different questions that I couldn't answer. So that was really good for him to talk to another male about it. So
wonderful.
Yeah. But he's loving it and really happy with how his body's changing, and he's just the simplicity in it.
The simplicity is so welcome.
Yeah.
Life just gets easier. People think that we're denying ourselves so many foods, but actually every time we eat, it's so easy. It's so delicious. So do you find that you're eating to satiety and you're free from restrictions, meal calories restrictions?
So what it looks like for me now is I eat basically Monday to Friday. I stick to beef, some lamb, and I've been testing out the egg situation, and I've learnt that egg yolks serve me best, not the whole egg. So my Monday to Friday is pretty much just most kinds of beef, generally ground beef and steak, some lamb steaks, and if I'm having some ground beef, sometimes if I'm feeling like egg yolks, I'll mix them through as well. On the weekends, I relax a little bit and I'll have more, well, it's still all carnivore food, but I couldn't eat bacon every day, and halloumi, and I'll allow myself some halloumi, bacon, some pork, chicken wings. So because the weekends we are generally socializing, I'm able to just enjoy all of those foods. But that keeps me really excited on carnivore, because Monday to Friday, it's just like every day I go to work, it's just routine. Eating is just part of my routine. It's not, and then on the weekends, I indulge in other delightful carnivore foods that way.
Wonderful. And socially, was it easy for you, or did you get the people around you were supportive?
Oh, I think because at the start I really was a bit nervous because I've tried, you know, every diet, and I just was more like, oh my God, they're going to think, what is she up to now? You know, and I'd always just try a diet and tell everyone about it, or my family and friends, and then it wouldn't last. And this time because it was introduced to me by a friend, and in Australia, barbecuing is it's a social thing that we do a lot. So it was really easy for me because I had someone else who was a friend who was doing the carnivore diet as well. I was able to have that kind
of like a social anchor, or
yeah, it was like, great, at least I know when I go to this house I'm going to get meat. And it's really, I find it really easy, like when I go out for dinner or lunch or whatever, it's just if there's a burger, I just have meat patties. And restaurants are really accommodating that. If I just ask for like 3 meat patties, they're like, oh yeah, no worries, okay, that's fine. Like,
great.
It's just about being like, I always say, speaking my truth. And if people question me and they're like, oh, and you don't want any, no, this is what I eat, I just want this, please. Making sure we go to places that I can order a steak or, yeah, so it's really easy. And people, like all my friends and family, because of where they saw me last year and to now, they are so accommodating. They're like, if we know that we can't go out for Japanese because it's just there's not really anything there. And eating, if we went somewhere like that, I'd have to eat before I went, and then I'd have like some sashimi or something like that, you know, because that's not going to fill me up. But it's also, I've learned that if food I still find pleasure in food, but I don't lean on food emotionally like I used to. That's the biggest thing for me, I think, as well.
And that's very liberating.
Mm-hmm. It sure
and
is.
Then physically, you're able to do everything you want to do as regards the previous pain.
Yeah. I am like moving my body every day. I also am so much more gentle with myself now than I ever used to be. I've realized that I don't need to go to the gym and absolutely smash myself. I do enjoy strength training. I used to run a lot. I don't run anymore. I just enjoy walking. So this also has given me, like, I used to have to smash myself in a gym to keep myself mentally healthy, and I don't need to do that now. It's probably the best way to explain it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And you're feeling more hopeful and clear-minded about your future.
For sure. The mood, the focus, the concentration that I have been able to step back into my old role. When I was sick, I had to step back in my full-time role. So I also work in finance, and my employers were amazing, and I was able to sort of step back while I was unwell. And as of, you know, about 4 months, 3 or 4 months ago now, I said I was ready to move back into my old role, and I'm just doing that and doing it really well and so confidently now. And that's another thing that carnivore has given me back. I've got a sankalpa, which is like an intention you set in the yogic framework or your yoga life. And for me, my sankalpa now is that I am love and I am confidence. And I just feel like I vibrate that everywhere now. And it's
wonderful.
Really,
well, Lulu, I know that you recently decided to become a coach here at Revero. And what is your message that you want to share and that you hope to inspire others with?
For me, I want people just to have their freedom of their life back. That is the most important thing to me. I want people to feel equipped. You know, knowledge is power. And when I started, I was able to just learn from so many people's experiences. But when it came to getting things like getting my goals into more manageable, or like to have accountability was really important. So setting goals for me was around, you know, eating, drinking water, exercise. And I had like a vision of what I like, things that I wanted to feel best in, like clothes and all that kind of stuff. So I just want people to have that, those things come back to their lives where they feel as though they have that confidence, they are equipped with goals that they can follow, that are achievable too, that aren't goals that are ridiculous, and when they don't achieve them they feel like deflated. I want people to feel comfortable and to laugh and enjoy every interaction. That's really important for me as well.
Wonderful, Lulu.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your success story. I know it's going to have an impact on so many people that watch it. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience today?
Yeah, sure. I think if you have really thought about carnivore and you're sort of sitting on the fence, jump over the fence and just give it a go. And having a coach is so great. It's really accessible as well. And even though I'm in Australia, I have in the last, I've only just become a coach in the last week or so. I've had 2 women from the States that I've been able to help and set goals with and discuss things about the carnivore diet. And it's just that I feel really passionate about it, and I'm so passionate about what it's done for me. And I just feel like so many people can heal their lives, and it's just such a simple way of, it's so simple.
It really is.
It's like really simple.
It might not be easy,
yeah,
but it's simple.
It's simple, and it's like, it's just the freedom in it and the changes in how I can go on and on about what it's done for me, and where it's taking me. And I just can't wait to see where it takes me in the next few years. And I just wish I started it 10 years ago when I was in my 20s. Like,
well, thank goodness you found it when you did.
Yes.
I think we all look backward and think, oh, I wish I had known that before,
right?
But you're doing so wonderfully. Thank you for joining us. And we look forward to continuing to hear about your progress and success.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us today on the Success Podcast, Lulu. Thank you.
Thanks, Kiki.